ち上がることができた。
龍さん。
改めて言います。あなたは尊敬に値するヒューマンだ。
綺麗です。これまでよりずっと。
失礼します。
龍さん。
私は一体どうすれば。逃がしちゃダメよ。
What an absolute beautiful and gorgeous ending. Like, there's not too many anime that I would say had a nearly perfect season. And if you've been following the channel, or at least been following my DanMachi videos, you know from the get-go, my biggest worry at the start of the season was the flashbacks and, you know, the telling of Ryu's past, and not necessarily her past, but spending too much time with the Estrella Familia. And thankfully, that's not what we got. They had a very carefully curated way to reveal the Estrella Familia and to reveal Ryu's past to us. And it has been expertly directed and told to us. And I think this season, or at least part 2 specifically, has produced some of the best DanMachi episodes that I've seen in the past 4 seasons and all the episodes that we've gotten so far. And, you know, this ending was gorgeous. And like, if this would be like an ending arc, or like if this would be like an ending, like a seasonal ending, or like a season ending episode, or like a show ending episode, I can't even really say that I'd be so mad at it. Now, I know that there's more DanMachi to come in the future, but like, this ending was like, it was, for me, it was perfect. I, you know, at this ending, I was emotional, I was captivated, I was smiling, and, you know, I was happy. And I think that this is all the things that culminate to make a absolutely killer ending. And this episode took us all on a journey, and thank you for being here with me on the journey. Like, I really think this was an easy 9.5. I would probably lean more towards a 9, and I know that sounds harsh, but like, there are still a few things throughout the 11 episodes that we got that, you know, I would tweak or slightly change, or like, you know, I didn't feel great about this and that. Those moments were so far and few between, but they still existed. So I would say 9 out of 10, maybe like 9. If I would go on like a scale, like a point system, like 9.3 out of 10 or something like that. But like, really just incredible masterpiece of a season, or a part 2, a core 2. And, you know, this season took us through, you know, all different facets of emotions, but essentially, you know, it ended on this episode where it had Bell versus a Juggernaut. Then it had Ryu facing the Estrella Familia. The Estrella Familia, you know, forming themselves as like spiritual beings. Them telling, you know, Ryu not to give up, that you would regret if you gave up at this moment. Like, there is somebody out there that matters more than anything, that is the embodiment of your justice. Like, go fight. Then we had Ryu get up and, from the Familia interaction she had, she ended that interaction with, and I think this is what hit me really, like, from an emotional standpoint, like a really great writing standpoint, what really hit me with that interaction between her and the Familia was, you know, she explained to them, like, you know, I've been running towards a way to say I'm sorry and apologize, but at this moment I realized that you guys don't hold anything against me, and I needed to forgive. I needed to not have you forgive me, because you guys you never held anything against me. I needed to get to this place to forgive myself. And I was like, oh my God, that is powerful. Like, that is just like, it's such good writing. It puts a smile on your face because it's just so good. And, you know, once she snaps out of that, she goes to go and help Bell and fight the Juggernaut. And she begins using the spell that she used, the Luminous Wind spell, that she used to, you know, defect the original Juggernaut originally. And at this point, She's using it. Bell's going full force at this. He's going full tilt. He uses the Argo Vesta ability that he has. Blew things to shred. Was able to cast one more firebolt as while the Juggernaut was weakened. Got a shink in his armor. She was able to use Luminous Wind, and as each part of her spell, each wind particle of her spell, they each represented somebody in her party that she was able to kind of call upon that strength, and eventually end up, finishing off the Juggernaut, and eradicating literally probably the most dangerous monster that exists in this dungeon, kind of like period the end. And she was able to defeat him. Then we got a flash of 𝐒𝐻𝐻, and they passed out, and then we got a flash of 𝐒𝐻𝐻 and the Xenos. They came, they gave them some medicine, or they gave them some potion, and then they left. They allowed Lily and the gang to come and find them. Everybody came. They found Belle. They found Ryu. Then they go to the hospital. They share a moment there. They got out of the dungeon. Immediately as soon as Ryu wakes up, she's worried about Belle. She runs virtually naked to Belle. He finally gets to see all of Ryu. And that was a really fun moment for all of us. I think it's like, a really fun moment there. And then the episode ends with them going on like a little date when they got discharged. She's dressed up, and basically it just has her realizing that she is in love with Belle. And I think Belle's affection level has probably increased tenfold for Ryu over all this experience. Like, how can it not? Like, if she's not the most important person to you at this point, it's kind of like an oddity. Obviously there's other girls, who you would make the argument of Belle, potentially ending up with in that relationship at one point. Maybe he ends up with multiple. I don't know how that's going to play out for our boy Belle. He is very young. But you assume you have Haruhime, you have Lily, right? And you have Hestia herself, right? But I think Ryu has jumped, almost, if not to the top, virtually to the top of that list. But Belle is now number one for her, for sure. And even herself struggles with it at the end, like, oh, what do I do now? And one of her familia members, the girl with the pink hair, was like, don't let the boy go, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I just think, that was such a cool thing. And then they also topped off her story of 𝐜𝐻𝐻𝐿. They made her a defender of justice. They killed her off, essentially. So now she truly can live the life that she wants to lead. And I think that was gorgeous in itself for Boris and the party members to do that for her as well. Kind of cap that off. So, she now has to struggle with the fact that she's in love with her boy Belle. She's head over heels for him. And she's going to have to, she's going to have to deal with Seer. She's going to have to let Seer know this at some point. She can't just hide it forever, especially because the emotion is so strong within her. So it's like, man, if Belle ended up with her at this moment and, that was to be the next storyline, I would not even blink an eye at it. I'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. I think Ryu, for me, Cassandra is still best girl, but, right after, for me, Ryu is like the next one. And then after her is Haruhime. So it's kind of goes in that order for me. But, maybe Belle has a little harem thing that he has going. Maybe he has like one main wife and a couple consorts. Maybe he does like a prince thing, So definitely, regardless of which way it goes, like this episode, this part 2 was awesome and amazing. I know it left a couple of details out, but regardless, this episode was just incredible. Love the ending. Love seeing Ryu all dressed up. Very, very cute. Love seeing her reactions. This is definitely a fantastic ending, and thank you for sharing it with me. Let me know your final thoughts of this episode and this season in the comments below. Our journey in Season 4 of DanMachi is now complete, and when Season 5 comes, I hope to see you then. And I also hope to see you for the rest of the winter anime that we have and going into the spring as spring begins. All right, my friends, Firebolt.